Seumpamanya macam orang asli di Semenanjung. Pihak yang tertentu mengatakan
They say that the Orang Asli do not have rights to the land. We have lived here since the time of our ancestors, and yet they say we do not have rights to the land. We, Orang Asli, are the first people on this land. We did not come from anywhere.
Orang Asli is a collective name given to the 19 groups of indigenous minority peoples of Peninsular Malaysia. Together, they make up just 0.5% of the national population. Trees planted by Orang Asli date back for centuries. These are usually fruit trees that now have an economic value. Trees that were grown as a heritage for their children and their children's children.
Satu pokok petai besar, tapi itu tempat petai ada kelio saja, satu tempat saja.
Petai trees do not grow wild. They were planted by man. That's why we just can't harvest the fruits as we like. We want the fruits, we must ask its owner.
The Orang Asli have a close relationship with the land. To them, the land is a living entity, with a spirituality and a sacredness of its own. Knowledge of the land and respect of it assures their continued survival. For the forest also provides for all their physical needs: medicine, shelter, fuel and food, and all other materials necessary for their existence. Forest produce also gives the hard cash required for the purchase of other necessities.
Sebab orang asli yang penting tanah.
Land is important for us Orang Asli. We need land to develop. We need land for our dusuns.
Ataupun kedudukan dusun dan apa dan sebagainya lah. Kita memerlu tanah.
Orang Asli identity is very closely linked to the land. It is a land that guarantees their survival, their development, their progress. The Orang Asli are seldom appreciated or understood by administrators and planners. Their history has been one of disregard as a people, as a community. In early days, the Orang Asli were referred to and treated as savages, kafirs, non-human, untamed, jungle beasts. In travelling circuses just 50 years ago, Orang Asli were displayed in cages and the public charged a fee to view them. Because the Orang Asli were dehumanized as such, they were considered prime subjects for slavery. Their settlements were often raided, the men killed, and the women and children sold into slavery. Many still remember this sad period in their history, and all Orang Asli detest cults. As they were said to be without religion, they became the favorite targets of missionaries. Though the majority of Orang Asli continue to practice their traditional religion, till today their indigenous spirituality is still hardly understood or appreciated. Anthropologists and other researchers were also interested in the Orang Asli. The apparent primitive state of the people was thought to be ideal for their purposes. The government of the day, however, were not concerned with the well-being of the Orang Asli, who were perceived to be happy enough to be wandering in the forest. The Orang Asli were perceived differently during the emergency, Malaya's civil war. About 1950, the Orang Asli became unwitting pawns between the communist insurgents and the British administration. Because the Orang Asli were known to provide services to the insurgents, the British herded them into resettlement camps. A few hundred died in these crowded, sun-baked camps. Later, they changed their strategy, recognizing that the key to ending the war lay in winning over the Orang Asli to their side. When support waned, the insurgents massacred whole Orang Asli communities who were thought to be on the government's side. The assistance of the Orang Asli was instrumental in ending the emergency. However, the role the Orang Asli played in the emergency is seldom mentioned in history books. It was during the emergency that the Jabatan Hal Ehwal Orang Asli, as the Department of Orang Asli Affairs is called, was established to assist the government to woo the Orang Asli to their side. The Jabatan Hal Ehwal Orang Asli has been the sole agency responsible for the protection, development and well-being of the Orang Asli. The department has introduced two basic services. The first is the provision of medical facilities such as emergency evacuations from remote areas, and the establishment of an Orang Asli hospital. The other, educational opportunities for the Orang Asli. Despite this, after 40 years, the Orang Asli still lag far behind other Malaysians in these fields. Today, no less than 80% of the Orang Asli are living below the poverty line. The Orang Asli see the control and ownership of their traditional lands as the key to their progress and development.
The government is actively developing, constructing highways, roads, and putting up electric lines. When Orang Asli ask for the same facilities, they say we can't ask, as we don't have titles to our land.
But the authorities see resettlement and permanent agriculture as the answer, reasoning that development projects to improve the living standards of the Orang Asli can only be implemented if they stay put in one place. They add that the Orang Asli practice of shifting cultivation brings about much forest destruction. However, it has been scientifically shown that the method of rotational agriculture is the most ecologically sound for this particular terrain. The fact that most of the Malaysian forest has been lost to indiscriminate logging and huge land development projects is often conveniently forgotten. Settlement schemes are eagerly implemented when Orang Asli traditional lands are required by others, for the construction of dams, for land development schemes, or for private ownership.
Dia tidak minta pada itu. Dia minta terus
When
kepada
others want
jabatan
land, they approach the department directly,
apabila dia lulukan
and the
tanah
department
itu,
approves.
berkaitan dengan
If
tempat
Orang
orang
Asli
asli
are
duduk orang
affected,
asli.
we are
Orang
asked
asli
to move.
dipindahkan,
When will we
jadi orang
be a
asli
settled
di mana
people?
dia nak tetapkan.
In reality, resettlement has not always an improved in the standard of living of Orang. Apart from the physical and spiritual loss of their traditional subsistence space, the opportunities for cash income in the new schemes are often insufficient.
Lagi dia nak ambil sana. Aneh betul. Tak ada betul.
Orang Asli are not entitled to land in these resettlement schemes. Resettlement offers no security, and often they are asked to move again, leaving behind crops and homes for promises of a better future.
Itu saya marah.
Sebab dia ambil tanah dia ambil. Oh, kita apa nak makan?
Itu apa nak akan? Apa nak harapan? Lagi kapal Bali ada dinamika.
The Aboriginal Peoples Act, which is supposed to protect the Orang Asli, states the right to withdraw any Orang Asli area or reserve without any guarantee for compensation in cash or alternative land.
Dan kayu dia ambil tanpa
Our land and timber have been taken without any benefit to us, to build dams,
dia
supply water,
air.
get our promises
Cuma orang
only.
asli kan dia punya cerita sajalah.
Promises of development and land titles are always made, just before general elections. In population censuses and other official statistics, the Orang Asli are classed under Malay. Despite this, they generally do not enjoy the same status and benefits as the Malay Bumiputra. For example, they are not eligible for Malay reserve land. For the Orang Asli, it is the land more than anything else that gives life and meaning to their whole being. It is also the land that provides for their social and cultural development. The refusal to understand and recognize the rights of the Orang Asli to their traditional lands thus impedes the progress of the Orang Asli. This threat to their culture, lifestyle and land must stop immediately. Their identity as a proud and independent people is dependent on this. The Orang Asli, Peninsular Malaysia's first peoples, must be allowed to freely determine their own future.
Hai misteri bilang jelma bilang menua ya pun surya mun suhadir ya mana dang le ya un. Jaga baju ya bercinta ya bidang menua ya dek.